I'm Stephen Foskett from Gestalt IT. You know, as 2020 comes to a close, I thought I would take a minute and just sort of look back at the year. It certainly has been interesting. You know, we started things off with everything looking great. We had a large number of Tech Field Day events planned. We were looking at hiring more people. We were looking at expanding. And then, of course, the pandemic hit. You know, Field Day has always been an in-person event, and so it was a big challenge for me personally, as well as the rest of the Field Day team, to think about how we could do this event virtually. But you know, they really came through. Folks like Tom Hollingsworth and Ben Gage and the folks over at Prime Image helped us to figure out how we could produce a credible virtual Field Day. And it's worked. You know, we started off with the very first virtual event with only a short time planning. And of course, also we had to deal with the fact that the pandemic was closing down our offices too, sending everyone home and forcing everyone to work from home. But, you know, we did it. Between the efforts of the Gestalt IT team, both in front of the scenes as well as behind the scenes, folks like Claire and Alyssa here, trying to make sure that everything was planned and everything was pulled off, to the delegates who were willing to join from all around the world, to the companies who maintained their faith in us and continued supporting Tech Field Day. You know, it worked. And that was probably the most remarkable thing coming out of 2020 for me. So we've added so much work behind the scenes. You know, we hired another person to help us plan things, Matt Garvin, you know, we had to think about you know, things like how long can somebody stay on camera? How do we deal with multiple time zones? How do we help people to set up their environment to make them look good and sound good in a virtual space? A lot of this stuff really happened early on between March, April, May, when we were actually doing Tech Field Day events. And then we hit, well, an interesting situation where we had a Field Day event that looked like it would be 2 long days for the delegates to deal with. And so we decided to try something else new, which is to split it into an early team of delegates and a late team of delegates. That worked pretty well. So we had folks joining us from Europe and the East Coast as early as 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And then we had folks in the rest of the US and even as far away as Australia joining us you know, later in the day, as late as 4 or 5 p.m. Pacific Time. And all these things kind of came together in Cloud Field Day 8 and then Tech Field Day 22 to do something really unusual with Tech Field Day. Another big thing that we did this year, of course, is AI Field Day. You know, we've been looking at AI for a long time, but we were waiting for there to be sort of a critical mass of delegates and companies that wanted to sponsor this event. And that happened finally in 2020. And so we were able to launch our first AI Field Day event with new delegates and new companies. And that was a lot of fun for me personally because it was a lot of new content. You know, we also managed to do Tech Field Day, Cloud Field Day, and Storage Field Day, and Tom Hollingsworth's events that he leads, Networking Field Day, Mobility Field Day, and Security Field Day. All of those happened virtually for the first time ever in 2020. And, you know, all of them worked really, really well. We've also been doing a lot of exclusive events with partners this year. We started off the year with our friends at Cisco, who we've worked with for many years, in an in-person event at Cisco Live. Then we had to think about how we can take those kind of events virtual as well. Happily, the companies went along for the ride with us, and you know, they turned out pretty well. You know, we did something with Red Hat in April as part of their summit. Dell EMC Storage did a special virtual event with us in June, as did Aruba. And we did a special event with NGINX, partnered with 6 Feet Up using their LoudSwarm platform, where we did the whole virtual event, including the Field Day and the non-Field Day content. And then, of course, later in the year, you know, we're doing a special event with Intel in December. All of these things have required a lot of creativity, a lot of energy from the team and from the, you know, the delegates and the partnering companies as well. But they've all worked pretty well, and I'm pretty thrilled about that. The other side of the coin is Gestalt IT. This is our content site. And the big news on the Gestalt IT side for me was hiring a full-time site editor, Georgina Ford, to basically take over all of the you know, editorial content on that site. And she's done a wonderful job. We're continually updating the site. We're thinking about better ways to engage with the audience, better content types to put out like videos and podcasts. And it's all really done so well that we hired another person, Abby, to help produce a lot of that multimedia content for us this year as well. One of the big things for me was the launch of the Utilizing AI podcast. We've done a weekly podcast since the summer focused on enterprise AI, and that thing has really, really done well. I want to especially thank Andy Thurai and Chris Grundeman, who've co-hosted that, as well as our friends over at the ML Ops community, Dimitrios Brinkman and everybody else who've joined us on episodes and helped us support all of our efforts in AI Field Day and the Utilizing AI podcast. We also, of course, have the On-Premise IT Roundtable podcast, which we've been doing for a few years. That's really kind of hitting its stride. In fact, what was once a bi-weekly podcast has actually become a weekly podcast thanks to a lot of the events we're doing and the support that we've gotten from partners on sponsored episodes of that. And of course, Tom and I have taken up the Gestalt IT Rundown, which is our weekly review of enterprise IT industry news. That's available as a podcast, and more people are listening to the audio version of that on Wednesdays instead of tuning in for the video. But of course, we're also doing the video of that as well. One more thing that I'd like to call out is Tomversations, which is Tom Hollingsworth's video series where he monthly takes on a longer form topic. Rich Straffolino and I have also done that under the Checksum name, but I'm really looking forward to Tom's every single month. Many people are aware of Tech Field Day, but many don't know about the content creation efforts that we've done. But we've been actually doing this for many years. We worked with companies doing blogging and, papers and videos and interviews and so on. And that's really all come together this year under the leadership of Tiffany Lardamita, who's running that now. In fact, it's gotten so strong that we've had to bring in an intern. We've now hired Ashley to help organize all those content projects. One of the new things that we're doing over there is called a showcase, which is basically an on-demand presentation where a company will present on their schedule to a group of folks from our community, and then those folks will write about the presentation on gestaltit.com. That's really gotten a lot of interest in the industry. Another cool thing we're doing is a wonderful series of webinars where we're kind of trying to focus it more like a podcast and less like a traditional presentation webinar. The series that we've done with Commvault has been great. I kind of serve as an MC, and then we invite folks in from the community as well as from Commvault to kind of present more of a conversation and less of a presentation for their webinar platform. Honestly, this whole side of the business has been going so strongly that we're really looking forward to seeing what we're going to do with it in 2021. Speaking of 2021, we're really looking forward to seeing what this next year brings. We've already scheduled a number of Tech Field Day events in the first half of the year, and of course those are going to be virtual. But we're looking forward to getting back in person as soon as possible. We really miss our friends and our community. We miss California. We miss our trips around the world. We're really hoping to be able to bring back the delegates to Field Day events in the second half of the year as soon as everyone feels comfortable with it. But I do want to give a special shout out to the sponsors and the presenters from our companies, our industry friends, and especially some of our partners like Prime Image and Limo Fiesta and the Plaza Suites and all the restaurants and other locations that we love to visit in California. We'll be back as soon as we possibly can. We're going to do AI Field Day again. It's pretty exciting that that event was such a success that we're already planning our second one in the first half. And some of our more popular events are already filling up. In fact, we've had to add another networking field day event later in the year. We're going to be doing cloud field day at least 2 times, tech field day, storage field day. All of these events are coming back. And we're hoping that sometime in the second half of the year, maybe third or fourth quarter, we'll be able to get on a plane and do these events in person again. So, keep an eye on my feed and the Tech Field Day website as we announce events, and I'm sure that it's going to get big news when we're going to be getting on a plane again. As we bring 2020 to a close, I hope everyone has a chance to spend time with their close family and relax and enjoy the holiday season. 2021 is already looking up, and I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to reconnect with friends and family all around the world. Thank you for your support of Gestalt IT and of me personally all throughout this year, and I look forward to seeing you again in 2021.